So that is what we're turning our attention to at the moment. Today on the program, we've got two gentlemen to weigh in on that matter, on that particular visuals and reports you saw. We've got Jefferson, who are here with us. He's a legal practitioner and a member of the APC. Thank you for coming on this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Then we also have joining us from our studios in Benin, Honorable Washington Osifo, who is a former commissioner for education. He joins us, as you can see there. Also, thank you for joining us today, Honorable Osifo.
Good morning.
Let me start with you here, Mr. William. Of course, you know the controversy brewing. You see how the dailies have reflected some of this matter concerning the inauguration of the 7th Assembly in Edo State. So when they say that the governor is trying to impose leadership, and that's why they took all the time in the world issuing a proclamation, and that what seems to have happened, or the speaker, who people refer to as speaker, is not. What's your response?
Thank you very much. My pleasure being in your studio. There's a very unfortunate development brewing in our state, and the reason is purely politics. There's a deliberate, sustained campaign to kind of mislead the public, and a lot of persons seem to be buying into that narrative that is very false.
How do you mean? Is there
let me define it. Yeah. Now, on the issue of proclamation of the House, there is nowhere in the Constitution that said that the governor must issue a proclamation letter on a particular day. Section 105 provides that the governor shall send a notice to the House. He didn't say the specific time and date. The governor had done that now. All that issue, all the complaint of proclamation have ended now. The issue is, oh, the person that emerged shouldn't have been, allowed to emerge in the manner he did. And they fail to realize, with due respect, that Section 92 of the Constitution says that members present in the House when the clerk reads the proclamation letter are free to elect the leadership.
Before you come to that point, which I'm also going to get Honorable Osifo's response on this. When you say there is nowhere in the law that says the governor must issue a proclamation on a particular day or time, and that he can issue it at any time that he wants.
Not reasonable time.
Reasonable time. Now, when has it been issued?
Yes.
Okay. How was it issued? Did all the members, were they all aware that this has been issued?
This letter is not issued to all the members elect. In fact, let me clear one misconception. What you have are members elect. They're not members of the House of Assembly yet.
Yeah, we know that.
They are members elect, and until they are unveiled and sworn in and subscribed the necessary oath, they are not yet members of the House of Assembly. They are not honorable members of the House of Assembly. They are members elect. And so we must distinguish the subject matter. That a lot of persons who are parading themselves as honorable members of the House of Assembly are not. They remain members elect until they come to the House and formally subscribe to the necessary oath. They are not members of the House of Assembly. They are members elect.
Were they invited to the House?
Yes, I'll come to that now. You asked that question, and I want to just quickly make that clarification. When the clerk received that letter, he sent the necessary notices to all those concerned. They were holding a meeting somewhere in the city, almost about 18 of them. About 4 of them left that meeting and came to the House of Assembly with the other colleagues, and the whole ceremony started. It's like what happened in Saraki's case in June 2015, when the 51 members supporting Laman were in the International Business Conference Center, holding meeting with the president to resolve the issue then, while Saraki and his own team went to the National Assembly and got themselves organized and elected the speaker.
So you said 4K. What about the rest? Why didn't they come?
Well, we have record that 9 members were present when the proclamation notice, was executed in terms of election.
Did they sleep over?
Yeah?
Did they sleep over in the assembly?
No. They got there in the afternoon.
Okay. Well, we need to get response on this before we move further. Well, let's get to Honorable Osifo. You heard what he has said about, first of all, no law says he must issue it at a particular time. He says he has to be within a reasonable time. And then the proclamation was issued but the other members didn't come to the House, and so you can't blame those who were there when the Speaker was eventually sworn in. How do you see this?
Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me here. And to say that in all we do, the truth is sacrosanct. And I want to greet my brother there, Jefferson Wori, my big brother. Good morning, sir. You see, when you labor to fill in the missing link, especially when you are not there, you only create problems for yourself. And let me just take you through what happened. Although he's taking it as though he was there, but he's a member of the APC, and I'm also a member, we are also members of the APC. But the truth is that on this issue of who's members elect, he is not a member elect. And most of the meetings we have had, it was not a privileged meeting. It was a meeting that invited us because we were supposed to be there as critical stakeholders at this level. So he wasn't there, and he cannot attempt to speak on the issues that he knows nothing about. Now, talking about all of this, one thing I want him to cast his mind on is this. Although the law is an ass, it can be twisted to any direction. But is he aware that the life of the old assembly came to an end on the 12th midnight, 7th of June? What is today's date, or what was Monday's date? That was 9 days after that day. Is he also aware that what is reasonable, even if we have to define it, that yes, I agree, there's no specific time, must everybody always allow rest on the lacuna within the law to bring about their unlawful act? Yes. On that day, we have been calling, because we have had several meetings as build up to all of this, one-on-one with the governor and even the party leadership. And we have continued to wonder, why is it that we are becoming embarrassed that Edo House has not been proclaimed? Now, what the provisions of Section 105 sub 3 says that the governor was, by that provision, mandated by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which he sworn to defend, to protect and defend. It was caused by that place to do a letter to the clerk of the house, which, of course, the clerk of the house will now, and when he writes the letter, his business stops there. It is not necessary that he should, it may be required, but it's not necessary that his presence should be in the hall on the day of the inauguration. Now, for the clerk of the house, immediately he receives the receipt of that letter, he is supposed to communicate the content of that letter by doing a universal invite and also an individual invite to the members. Universal, because the whole world must know that something is about to be done for the people. And, and those who want to be part of it are free to be part of it. But this time around, what we saw was that we had a conference to demand that the governor demand the immediate release of that letter of proclamation from the governor, to respect the constitutional demands and all of that. That was 3:30. We closed in that meeting at about 4 o'clock. It is everywhere, and all of that was done. One thing that not baffled us, we were supposed to have another meeting for 8 o'clock to review the outcome of that conference that we had. At about 8 o'clock, at about 5:30, the clerk of the house called us to say that he had been invited to government house and he didn't know what they were going to tell him. Now we were rejoicing because we thought that what we did, to pressurize the governor to receive the letter, has touched his spirit, and he was going to do the right thing, which was the constitutional demand. And at the end of the day, he said that he was going to call us. 30 minutes later, which was like 6 o'clock, we were waiting for his call. He didn't call. We were curious, and we decided to give him a call. We wanted to know exactly what it was. We were calling him, he wasn't picking. 6:30, he didn't pick. 7 o'clock, he didn't pick. When it was now 8 o'clock, and we were all seated for the meeting, except for 4 of our colleagues who were also present with us when we had the conference at about 3:30. Now we became curious. At about that time, some of their phones were ringing, they were not picking, and for others, it was completely switched off. Then we tried to narrow a relationship between the clerk of the house not picking his call, and also some of our members not picking his call. And together with the fact that the loose interpretation of the law, according to them, that they needed 1/3 of the number, which would be 8, to form a quorum to constitute that assembly. Whereas from the meeting that we had, the conference that we had by 3:30, it is clear that 19 members of the House out of 24 were present. Out of that 19, I can give you the statistics. 1 was from Edo North, 2 was from Central, and they had 2 from Edo South. In the constituency, whereas there are 18 local governments in Edo State, there are 24 constituencies for the purpose of representing the people. Now, what it means is that they had 5 clearly, and by reason of our conference, it became clear to them that what they had boasted that they were in majority, they were not in majority. Because we all signed and we had our faces and our voices registered on the electronics
Honorable Osifo, let me ask you. Are you
Yeah.
a member-elect in the House? You're not.
I am a member-elect in the House by God's grace, elected by my people of over 12,000 votes from Uwode local government
So
to represent them.
When the proclamation was issued, when the call was made, did you receive any call? How come 4 left and you all were not aware?
Now we were not aware. Even to those 4, I am sure you are, by reason of what we did yesterday. We had another conference yesterday. I am sure it is no longer new to you, and if it is new, it is not new to your studio in Benin. That they covered it. They were part of that conference yesterday, where those they adopted forcefully and forced them against their will to come and do that.
Okay.
Here they spoke to the world to say how it happened. They narrated how they demonstrated that Gestapo movement, where they took them to the board.
All right, just hang on. Don't worry, hang on. Let me bring in Mr. O'Hara here. Well, he says that they were forced against their will to go ahead and carry all of those things out. And the timing that he gave, the timeline which he gave, is suggesting that this was done with an ulterior motive. Is that the case?
With due respect, my brother Washington Osifo, your compliment is deeply appreciated, and the feeling and respect is mutual. But I need to let the issue here be, expressly disconstructed. Because if you understand the socio-structural nature of this discussion, you will know that the whole thing is purely sentiment, not law. We are discussing what happened in the House of Assembly, the legality of what happened, whether the House was properly convened, whether the election was properly done in compliance with the provisions of the House rules and the constitution of this country. That's basically my interest here. What happened outside the House, before the House, all the meetings that were going on. Of course, before you have this kind of election, people have caucuses and caucus meetings, all kind of meetings and all this.
Was this properly done?
It was properly done.
Properly constituted?
Oh, yes.
Even though some people believe that it's an act of desperation if it was done at midnight.
No, there was no midnight. You heard what he said, that he received a call by 4 o'clock, which is not even true, because the meeting started 3 o'clock. Of course, I give it to him with due respect to my very good learned brother, that he said 4. But you know what we are saying here, and they are reporting midnight.
Now, so, is it right, Honorable, for the just 9 people to be at a meeting that 24 people should have been, and they didn't say they weren't going to be there?
Let me explain one thing here. We are talking law here, and we're talking about legality. This is a group of persons elected to make law for the good of the people. And so there must be a presumption that they understand what the law process is. The lawmaking process is very key. If you are going to be a lawmaker, and you don't even know what the law means, and the process of making law means, then you have a problem here.
But you just said now, you said that they are not lawmakers yet.
I'm just talking that these are potential. So if you are elected to go and make law, there's a presumption that you have an idea of what the whole process is all about. I explained earlier that by the provision of section 105.3 that he referenced,
that is a given. But the question remains, as it stands now, many of these members themselves already feel disenfranchised, that they weren't allowed to be a part of the first official function they were supposed to be a part of.
No. He said that they received the proclamation letter and the clerk of the House informed them. But his own disagreement that he didn't issue a general invitation that would make them bring their relations and spouses to come like a big ceremony.
Mr. Warren,
that is the issue he is trying to convert. Not that he was not informed. Because he agreed that 4 members left where they were listening to go and attend. And thank God he asked you, how come the 4 left and you were all still behind?
We're talking law and politics.
Yeah.
But the thing about this is this. If this was well intended, don't you think that since they're all members of the APC, 24th of the Monday, so is it right that if he says 4, papers are reporting different figures? In fact, from you now, let's get your perspective. How many eventually elected the speaker?
9 members.
9 members elected the speaker.
9.
So,
is that by quorum?
Yes. Of 9, what is one? The quorum
just above the quorum.
But do you think that this, if already from the onset, the papers are reflecting, it's out there that if 16 lawmakers are saying, as they're reporting...
They're not lawmakers, please. They are members elect. Until they become members of the House of Assembly, they cannot be so referred to.
Mr. Winner, they were elected, and that's respectful. They were elected by their constituency, and that doesn't invalidate that fact. So that remains. So whatever anyone says, they are elected.
No, because we need to get the definition clear.
I understand
because
you
call them lawmakers. Well, no. They are members elect. Well, and until you come in and subscribe to that oath, it's not like what happened in Kogi State. Well, the governor elects.
My question is this: if this is the stance, one wonders, how do you think that there will be a peaceful assembly if majority of them? Are you then saying that they've not been inaugurated, they are not members, so it's only 9 members that will form the House of Assembly in Edo State? Is that what you're saying?
I need to distinguish my comment very clearly.
Please do.
I said, as at the time the House was convened, members present and willing to participate in the business of the House were 9. And in the process of getting members to the House, you can have some having challenges of health, making it impossible for them to be physically present at that particular time. That's what happened in the Korsha's case.
But did it happen in the Edo State?
No, just to say that it is not necessarily you have to have everybody present. All members present on the time we elect among themselves to rule.
I'm wondering how this is going to be easy when they eventually are sworn in. Because if 9 only, and you have 16 others that are outsiders still waiting for that process to be inaugurated in, when they eventually get in...
16, please.
How many?
You said 15, yeah.
15, okay. When they eventually get in, don't you think it becomes a little more complex to operate in that level?
Now it's not complex, it's all politics.
Now
they know what to do.
Hold on. Because they've not been part of selecting who the speaker is. Don't you think the complexity will get even worse?
There's nothing complex in it. Let us not begin to cry for those who have a fair knowledge of what they are doing. If you have 15 in the House, ultimately, and they are not happy with 9 that they know what the procedures look.
All right.
Very simple.
He says you know what the procedure is, and you're crying over spilled milk, Mr. Sifo. Could you speak on that?
Well, the truth is that when you are talking on issues with somebody who you know too well and somebody who knows you too well, then the conversation can be said to be very, very, very fair. You see, when you labor to defend the indefensible, this is what you do. I know my elder brother as a very sound, brilliant lawyer. You understand? But today, I am not too happy with what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. And I'm sure very many of us who know him very well as a sound mind, a very brilliant lawyer will be surprised at what is happening today. Now, I have made sufficient evidence that whereas I agree that in the Constitution, particularly in the section 105 sub 3, that demands that the letter be transmitted. I agree that has been done. I agree that the inauguration has been done. But what I'm saying is that they deliberately excluded majority. And I thought democracy was all about majority, and all of that. But how did they feel on that day when they saw that they were just 9, assuming without conceding that the other 4 that left us to join them did that out of their own volition? Then how could they feel that they didn't see the majority of them, which was at that time now 15 of us? And now the second question is what was the hurry? What was the haste for? That what was supposed to be done at daylight, even if the Constitution does not specify the time that it should be done. What was the hurry that led them to do that at about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night? Is Mr. Woggy not also aware that whereas you can even write it, you can write it that it was done at 3 o'clock, but the condition, the weather condition around within the environment at that time suggested that you cannot make day night and night day. These are the issues. What I'm saying is that people who must lead with good conscience. And I have listened in your introductory remark when you were talking about showing to the world how the House was inaugurated and the purported speaker was taking an oath of office. He already subscribed to oath of allegiance to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And those who also caused...
My apologies, we need to go to break now, but we'll come back to you in just a moment. Just stay with us. Honorable Sifo, let's get back to you. We don't have much of time now, but could you tell us, there's this allegation that yourself, alongside some other members, are being sponsored by the former governor. Is that true?
Well, that is a huge allegation that is not sustainable. Are they saying that, if that is the case, those who voted for me, over 12,000 votes in my constituency, that means it was a misapplication of their votes. The reason why they voted for me is because they know that I have the courage to speak truth to power. I was appointed commissioner in that state, commissioner for education and later of energy and water resources. Go and check my records. You are a member of the fourth estate of the realms. And what that means is that you are trained in journalism to also investigate.
Yes, but that was under the former governor, wasn't it?
No. What I'm trying to say is that those who have courage to speak truth to power, even as appointed,
what is the truth here?
You know, the truth is that we have what is truth here is that they never invited us. The reason on that day why we went to demand that this.
Would you respect, Honorable Sifo? The truth in context of, are you being sponsored by the former governor to stoke fire in the house?
We are not, let me just say it lucidly, we are not being sponsored by anybody.
All right,
we are only calling for the governor to do what is right.
All right, just a minute. You heard him there. So, is this a fight between the former governor and the current governor?
It's obvious. It's very obvious. A house of 24 APC members asking the party position is that this is the way we want to go. Thankfully, the leadership of the party in Edo State has congratulated the new speaker. And what does the Shomole need leadership of the House for?
If that is the
what does he need 15 members of the House for? Oyegun was the national chairman of APC when Shomole was the governor of Edo State. Did Oyegun attempt to control the House for him? I mean, is Shomole contesting for governor after Obaseki?
But these are all allegations.
Yeah, how do you prove that he's the one who's doing
Of course, you can see, as I talk to you now, his brother, Said, is the one, leading this whole onslaught. His younger brother. And this whole thing is the outcome of the, very wrongful primaries the party conducted in October last year.
So
when a lot of persons that have been, properly, elected through the primary, they came through the Farida committee to cancel all that and brought in fresh list of persons. That is how the whole thing ended.
If the governor is that popular, why doesn't he have the majority in the House and he has only 9?
That is where the issue is. Obaseki and Oshomole had a very good working relationship. And as soon as he became governor, Oshomole sat down and chose all the members of the ESCO apart from the Commissioner for Justice for him.
All right, that's how far we can go. Now, you see that this is not just law. You see, you brought out the politics in this now. Well, we appreciate your coming on.
Thank you
Honorable Jefferson Uwohiran is a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on today, and also a member of the APC. And then we were joined by, from Benin by Honorable Washington Osifo, former Commissioner for Education in Edo State, and also a member-elect. Thank you for your time as well. Well, that's how far we can go today on the program. We thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Usal.
What a day it is. I'm Gimba Umar.
A packed one indeed. I am Makinde here.
And happy birthday, Gimba.
Oh, yes.
And I'm Malkwe Yusuf. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.